Aloha everyone, good morning. Welcome back. So today we are going to go over replacing the front shocks on a 1974 Volkswagen bus. These are the original shocks on this thing, so they're probably close to 50 years old, and I figured it was time to replace them. So let's get started. I decided to go with the KYB gas adjust shock. I've used these shocks before, and I've always been really happy with the performance. This is a mid-grade shock. They're probably about $50 or $60. You can get a lower end shock for 20, 30 bucks. You're gonna get that kind of performance out of it, and you can also spend $100+ a shock or even more. So it's kind of up to you, but I like these ones. I've used them in the past, and I feel like when you're off-road, when you're on dirt roads, the performance actually increases on these. It tends to, I feel like the ride smooths out the bumpier the road gets. So I'm gonna go with these, and a couple of things to keep in mind before you start, and we're gonna go over those. All right, first things first, you're gonna pop the hubcap off, and of course you wanna break these nuts before you jack the car up. Otherwise, you're gonna be fighting a spinning wheel. So I like to leave it on the ground and just break them a little bit, and then jack it up from there. That way, I'm not trying to keep the wheel from spinning at the same time while I'm loosening these bolts. I'm gonna see if I can use the stock shock for this job. If not, I have a floor jack that I can put under the front torsion arms. And then of course I'm gonna support everything with a floor jack, or I'm sorry, a jack stand as well, just for safety precaution. I do believe you can replace the shocks without removing the wheel, but it's pretty tight back there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the wheel off for some extra room to work. So coming underneath the vehicle, you can see the tire has started to come off the ground here, but you never wanna just rely on one jack point or lift part on your car when you're underneath working on it. So I'm gonna slide this under here, this jack stand, and I will be supporting it here as well. I'll lift it up a little bit more, and then I'll lower it down, so it's kind of supported in two different spots. Okay, I'm down to just a couple of nuts left. I found that it's helpful if I need to take some pressure off or some weight off. I stick my feet under here and kind of lift it up a little bit to get these last bolts off, or last nuts off, and we should be able to pull the wheel off. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, and bring it in here. You could see the original shock. So one of the things that I did a couple days ago is I took a wire brush, got it up here, cleaned off the threads of that nut and bolt, and then I liberally soaked it with that PB Blaster, and then I did the same thing on this bottom here, and the hope is that it'll soak in there, give a couple days to soak in, and those things will come off without protesting too much. So both sides of this bolt that goes through the nut and this end of the bolt it's a 19mm, just for your reference. I wasn't able to get a socket on the other side, there's just not enough room. So I put an open-end crescent wrench over there, and let's see, yep, it's coming. Not too bad. I can almost do the other side by hand now. go, there's the top. Okay, this bottom one's coming off okay too. This is good news. You never know with these old nuts and bolts how much rust they have on them or how much of a fight they're gonna put up. Might have to tap on that with a mallet to get that shock to come off. Oh no, came right off. There it is. The old original shock. It's pretty crazy. So just to give you an idea, just to test this thing, it should, after pushing it, after compressing it all the way, it should expand back out. But there's no pressure in there at all. So it'll stay, you know, wherever I put it. So this thing, this shock is shot for sure. So here we go, putting the new shock on. Slide that bolt on. And I like to make sure I'm putting the nut on the same way it was before. So you can see that side is obviously exposed. That side was not. It's kind of shiny, so I like to thread it on the same way. I've had better luck doing that. So you can notice I've left this strap on, and what I will try and do is get everything lined up at the bottom, and then when I cut that strap, the shock is going to expand, and I'll try and guide it into place as it's expanding. All right, so here it goes. Make sure this is kind of lined up where I want it, and let's see how fast this thing expands. I'm just cutting this strap. Hopefully it's kind of slow and gives me a chance to guide it into place. Oh, it went fast all of a sudden. Ah. It's kind of the wrong angle. Okay, just took a little bit of wiggling, but it did go on okay. And put this bolt or nut back on the bolt and tighten everything down. And it should be good to go. Okay, just a little side note, after tightening that bolt down, you can see the thread doesn't go all the way over, so it was still a little bit loose. So I noticed they gave me these little spacers, and I'm going to say the spacer needs to go in there so that the nut can tighten down properly. I'll probably have to do the same on the top as well. Okay, so the shock is on. I've got everything tightened up. Time to put the wheel back on. And then I like to get these finger tight as far down as I can, and then tighten them up a little bit more with the tool, and then lower the car down so there's some weight on it, and then crank it down the rest of the way. So the last thing is to make sure you securely tighten the lugs, lug nuts, and remember to go in a star pattern as you're tightening these. And that'll make sure, that'll ensure that everything gets tightened down the same, instead of one side torquing down too much. And then, of course, don't forget to replace your hubcap. Okay, so after you've got one side tightened up and buttoned up, then you can move around to the other side and basically do the whole thing over again on the other side of the car, and then you'll be all done. After that, it'll be time for a test drive, which is what we're gonna do right now. All right, so what a difference these shocks make. I took the bus down to a little area where there's some speed bumps along this little pathway, and I'm hitting these speed bumps at probably a faster speed than I should, and these shocks are handling it really well. It feels so tight and good. I had gotten used to how it was before, and now hitting it, it compresses and comes back and doesn't bounce. Oh, it's really nice. What a difference. Anyways, that's it for this one. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, hit that like button, leave a comment. I always appreciate that. I'll get back to you. Aloha for now. Mahalo for watching. We'll see you next time. Woohoo!